this?
This is so exciting.
Check.
We gotta just hang
Check
out.
it is.
Come on. MegaCon, how are we? It's Thursday.
Are you guys alive?
I've never seen a Thursday like this anywhere.
The best.
Oh my
I
God!
was
You guys
sitting
are
back
amazing.
hearing this energy come through, like, yeah, Thursday.
And it's angry energy. You can tell because like there's a symbiote right there. It's angry energy.
Everywhere. 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 How you guys doing? Yeah? You guys hyped for this weekend?
Wait, before I get started, there's just something I gotta say. I'm fresh out of honey.
Fresh off the
I
plane.
always wanted to do that. I've never done that before, panel before. Thank you for being my guinea pigs on that.
So these guys just flew in. They like arrived recently. Because I did my traditional walk by the booth, say hi. Weren't there. A little concerned. It said it. I was like, oh no. And also, this is the first time I've gotten to hang out with these real life friends of mine on an official stage, which makes me so happy. Ever, dude. 10
That's
years.
true. That's crazy.
I've known Yuri a decade, and this is the first time I've done a con, and I do cons for a living. So this is faded. This feels like fate. So. I know, I'm like, he also sat over there, he's like, yeah, let's do a panel, totally, bro. But I want to know what you guys love most about con culture, because I've never been able to ask you at a con.
I was going to cons before I got into this business. So like, I grew up going to comic book conventions and Doctor Who conventions, Star Trek conventions. And so to be on this side, to be on the stage instead of in the hall is weird. Still, after all these years. But I love it. It's the best party in the world. It's, like growing up, because I'm old, when I was growing up and I was in high school, like, it wasn't cool to like the things like this. Like, or at least you could like them, you just couldn't tell anybody about it. So, like cons were like the place that I could go and we could all love what we loved and, wouldn't get beaten up at school for saying, like I play Dungeons and Dragons or whatever. But, so I've always loved it, man. It's the best.
Yeah, I kind of want to piggyback off that because I was going to cons too as a kid. My mom would take me to like different car conventions and stuff like that, just to get my mind going. But yeah, just to see the flip side of it. And I was always, loving the action and adventure films and the toys and just collecting, just as an only child. That's what I lived for. So, that was the number one thing for me. And then seeing the world just come back in full circle over here, pleasing you guys, and you guys are the best part of the contours, meaning you guys. I mean, you guys let us know what we're doing and what has brought you through, and like that's what we're here for, is you guys. So that's the number one thing.
It's hard because I didn't grow up with this as anything on my radar at all. Like my dad would take me to Home Depot and be like, "Let's build a rocket." Okay. What am I supposed to do? He's like, "Find some things." I'm like, "Okay." Like that was my childhood, so I didn't even realize that conventions were a thing until I started working in the industry and we started getting invited to go to conventions. And so it's been such a cool ride, and it's so neat to see people that have similar passions getting to just like celebrate it together. It was, in fact, there was one convention that I remember Yuri and I went to. It was Comic-Con Dubai, like Dubai Comic-Con. And we showed up and we of course knew nothing, like what are we supposed to expect, what's gonna happen. And we show up and it was so cool to see people who were having the same sort of realization of like other people like the thing that I like. And to see like, I don't know, someone cosplaying, sometimes like with a full burqa, like they were in their traditional attire and they would still be cosplaying and they would see someone across the room having a t-shirt that was symbolic of it, and you just see this like, it was almost like fire was starting. Like it was amazing to see this recognition and sort of joy and celebration, and also sort of this like, yeah, it's cool to like the things I like because that's what life's about. Whether you like sports or whether you like science or whether you like anime or whatever your jam is, finding the community of like-minded people who can also celebrate that thing that you're so passionate about is one of the best feelings in the world, because you find your people. Like you're like, oh, you're my people. Like my people drink tea and read books. Like it's cool, whatever. You find your people, and so I love going to conventions and see that like magic happen. Or to be like, you guys didn't do it right.
I didn't like your voice choice in that scene. That was $60. Now, I want to start with Yuri and go all the way down. This is a Spider-Man 2 panel, and Spider-Man is how I learned to read. Spider-Man is a character that has been so much to so many people, and so many people in this room. What, one, does Spider-Man mean to you? And two, why do you think he's been at the forefront of pop culture for 60 years?
Oh man, I'm sure
He
he's
gets
got
to
it.
start, he's gonna give all the best.
That's fair, that's fair. We're going to start down here because you started last time. Touche. The
There it
Spider-Man
is, you
way.
start.
Okay, so, Spider-Man to me is amazing because I have seen how
Amazing.
a brand new. Okay, well, I was gonna say Spider-Man is spectacular. But I can see how everyone can see themselves in Spider-Man, and I think that's what makes him such an amazing character.
I know, it's hard not to go for that. I know,
A
yeah.
wonderful
He's the ultimate.
character. No, but it's great to be able to see people seeing themselves in it, because oftentimes we see a superhero character or these larger-than-life magical things, and it doesn't really feel connected to us or our experiences. And when you see this kid fresh out of, he's a newer kid, like he's just doing his life, and these things start to happen to him. It's really exciting to be able to have that connection. But also, I am a mom. Ooh, that was exciting.
What do we lose? What do we lose?
I don't know, something fell off the table.
Oh, is it? Okay, we're safe. Okay.
And like, it's been so cool to see my husband, who is Spider-Man, if you didn't know we're married.
That's me. Which is weird because she plays a character named Yuri in the game. Which is, trust me, it was never not weird.
Like a tesseract, I'm not sure what happened. But to see my husband and my son connect, and my husband who's been such a fan of Spider-Man like his whole life, to then now have that be a connection to our son who is becoming a fan, like it's just, like it's this cool experience. And you asked the second question, and now I got so excited talking about that. What's the second?
Oh, no, I totally answered. But also the second part was, why do you think he's at the forefront for 60 years? But I think the
I think that's what
approachability,
it is,
yeah.
the approachability, it's the connectivity, like anyone can wear the mask, right?
Ah. Those writers, they know what they're doing. Nadji, for you?
Yeah, so it really starts with Peter's story. It's so unique and it's so heartfelt, and he overcomes a lot of adversity. He loses both of his parents, and then has to live with his uncle and his auntie. So that's a lot of problems right there, because I grew up with a single mom, and I know what it's like to not have that sort of guidance in your life. So Peter's story is kind of that universal that universal picture for everyone to kind of relate to, whether you have some trials and tribulations in your life to overcome something. And then he loses Uncle Ben, so he's going through a lot of pain, but then at the same time, he is being a hero and saving other people. So I think the main message for people in your life and for your story in your life, whatever heartbreak, whatever trials and tribulations that you're going through, and whether it's family, school, friends, you overcome that and you fight through that battle and become that hero in your story. And I think that's what Peter represents, and I think that's the overall message and why he's been around for so long, because every race, every creed, color, we all go through something in life where we have to overcome it and become that hero for whoever,
But I'm gonna just jump on that and say that for a whole new generation, Miles is, you're talking about Pete, but Miles is their Spider-Man. Like, Pete is now the old guy, cracking jokes that nobody thinks is funny, right? I mean, Miles is, when, to a certain, age of Spider-Man fans, when you say, point to your Spider-Man, they point Miles. That's, and it's amazing that that the character can be as flexible as it is and still, change with times and again, anyone can wear the mask. There's so many. We live in a time of great Spider-Manitude right now. There's a Spider-Man for everyone. Now we've broken up the Spider-Verse, and there's everybody gets. You get a Spider-Man. You get a Spider-Man. Everybody gets a Spider-Man. You make up your own Spider-Man. The plural of Spider-Man is Spider-Mans, by the way. That's official. I grew up reading comic books and loving Spider-Man. Although when I found out Chloe was going to be moderating this panel, I was just overjoyed because nobody's a bigger Spider-Man fan than Chloe.
No, Nadji was talking. I was like, he's describing the cover of Amazing Spider-Man 33. The Steve Ditko one, and it was his last issue. I know. That's a problem.
But so to be a part of this in the way that I've gotten to be a part of this is just still feels like a weird dream that I have yet to wake up from. I can't believe it. And I'm just glad that Spidey is so enduring, and he's everybody, but it's also like wish fulfillment. It's like, if I had superpowers, what would it be like? Oh, it'd probably be like that. It wouldn't be cool all the time. Like, and I wouldn't always make the right choices, and it wouldn't always be easy, and I wouldn't have lots of money backing me up, or, I'm also a god.
It's a little like fame.
Right, there you go. There you go. And that's why we didn't win any awards at the VGAs, because, wait for it. Because it's in the song. Wealth and fame he's ignored. Action is his reward, right?
Exactly.
It's not very Spider-Man thing.
Pay attention.
Is coming out on Thursday.
Pay attention.
That's what I tell myself to sleep at night anyway.
It's in the literature. It's in the original text. Now, on that same page of anyone can wear the mask and everyone can be their own Spider-Man, you're in a really unique position of not only having played Spider-Man multiple times and voicing him in different games, but you're also in a position of now being a lot of people's favorite of that Get Off My Lawn Spider-Man. Being a lot of people's favorite Peter Parker is a lot of power and responsibility.
Yeah,
but
it's
how do you
freaking me
make, like, I can't fathom the weight of, again, man, number 33 last week ago. But I can't imagine carrying that around knowing you're a fan. What is it that you try to bring that's your own unique take that feels authentic to Yuri Spider-Man?
I think if I had to decide that, if I had to create that, if I had to come up with that, I would become paralyzed. And so what I've done, because that weight is huge, what I've done is I've found a way to trust that what I'm bringing, naturally with my experiences and my take on it, and working with Insomniac to really take the cues from them as to who's the Spider-Man we need for this story, who's the Spider-Man we need for this game, the rest of the cast of characters that you've put together. I trust that you're going to let me know when I'm going off the reservation. So that's it's nerve-wracking otherwise. I can't, like, if I had to be like, make Spider-Man for a new generation, I'd just be like, I'm out. I'm like, no, I feel like I just messed it up.
What my sweet, humble husband is not able to say is that he doesn't realize that in a way, growing up to be he was a fan of Spider-Man and superheroes. And he is a hero in his own right, so he just is himself. He is kind, and he is thoughtful, and he is caring, and he does want to do the right thing by other people. He just naturally embodies the qualities that are what you love about your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Any dad that raises his son is a hero.
There you go.
But I think it's just it's also that you're seeing Yuri, you're seeing the core. I mean, it's also I think he plays young Superman. He's got that he's a lucky heroic dude.
Clark and Peter would both also be like, I could have answered that question. What a thoughtful dad.
And I've made dad jokes my entire life. Even before I was a dad, I was making dad jokes
I
that
have been
nobody
living
thought
with the quips for 22 years.
He just finally got a microphone, so they have a place to go. They're just channeling that energy.
Yes.
Now, there's a bit of the opposite side for you, Nadji. There's not so many people that have played Miles Morales. This is a very short list, including, Donald Glover. What's it like for you to embody a character that is so immediately iconic? There's so few legacy characters that have actually stuck around.
And to have already played him twice.
And you're that for so many people. What do you think the Venn diagram between you and Miles is, and what do you try to convey because of how important the character is?
So when I first got introduced to Miles, he was a young boy in Brooklyn, New York. And I was like, okay, I have family in Queens. I kind of know what that energy is like.
Queens.
And yeah, baby. So I was like, all right. So I just went in there, and he was 13-year-old brainiac and a scientist. And I was like, all right, well, let's jump into it. So I had to do a real high-pitched voice as a 13-year-old, and just have the spunk of Miles. But then it kind of grew to a trajectory where, we did the 3 seasons on Disney for that time, and then, it was like a one and done thing, So it's kind of like, okay, cool, we're done. And then, we get that call from PlayStation, and me and Yuri are are in the mocap booth, and we're just having that first feel of what was to come, you know, I kind of like, all right, I gotta get in the gym because it's gonna get intense. You know, like we were doing all the motions and the poses, and it was kind of like, okay, I kind of see where this was going, but you know, I don't fall far from Miles in a way, because you know, like I said, his moments that he's had, you know, with the losses in his life, and just everything that he's had to battle with, you know, and also being coming from a foreign background as well too. You know, my mom was actually Jamaican, so yeah, so we kind of had that little, you know, mix of the mix, you know, feeling too as well too. So just being in that field, and then you know, growing with him. Now he's in college. You know, I started with him as a 13-year-old. Now he's finishing his college essay. Hope y'all finished it, right? Okay, good. Yeah, so you know, it's been a great journey, man. And I've had Yuri right here to guide me through and help me out. You know, be a big bro on and off camera. Like honestly, if I would not be here without Yuri, he told me about the cons and everything. So y'all thank him, because I would not be here if he told me. So yeah.
Now, it's an opposite direction for you as well, from very well versed and newly iconic to a character that didn't have a lot of backstory that feels fully fleshed out. You brought so much heart and soul and character to a character that was new. What was it like for you to develop a backstory when you knew that these other characters are going to be immediately iconic, and to make your own iconic character?
Wow, that's a great question. I mean, I think that's the fun of the work, right, as an actor, is really getting to dive into a character that maybe you don't have as much information about, and trying to sort of like craft it and build it. But I will tell you, I would go to Yuri and I'd be like, hey, have you heard about this character? Like, I would try to like get information and decipher it, because that wasn't something that I was familiar with inherently. But I didn't know where she was going to end up. So I began the journey with her like, okay, well, she's in the police force and she takes things seriously, and she has a mind for solving things, and she looks out for her guys. And as that, no spoilers, but as the first game goes and then you get the DLC, you start to see like, wow, some stuff is happening. And even with that, I was like, I get to do what? Like, I was really getting excited. And the writers, I think, were having a lot of fun. They're like, we're gonna try to do some stuff with her. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And so I think the fun of it is, you take a character that you think you know, and then you put that character in this other situation, and then you have to see what this character that now you sort of think you know, how are they going to deal with that situation? And I actually kind of like to compare the Yuri character, Yuri Watanabe, to the Peter Parker character, because you have two characters who are trying to do right, faced with horrible circumstances, and you have two very different ways of handling it. So in a way, they're on the same path, and they're on the same journey, and they're fighting the same demons, but they do it very differently.
And I think that enhances both of them, because you see the left and right.
I think you scared a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, and you guys obviously, but like even in Insomniac, because they know you as the, yeah, let's do this, and then you did some things. And
I will say, there was one day, they all know we're married, so that's not like a surprise to anyone. But there was one day we were recording, and this was for the second game now, and of course I had known where the character went in the first game, and then I did the DLC, and then now I was coming in for the second game. And I was recording, and Chris Zimmerman was our voice director. So we would go into the booth and we would do all the lines for that, and then there were other days we'd go to the mocap stage and do all the cool performance capture stuff. Well, I was in the booth and I was just reading lines. You know, they'd be like, and now we're doing something with this is what's happening, and now we're doing this. And so I was like in there, and she's like,
you're afraid of saying Wraith, aren't you? You don't want to spoil anything.
I don't know. You know,
I didn't know how to ask the question.
Who's playing the game?
Have you guys played?
All right. Okay.
Thursday crowd.
We've had it drilled into our heads that if we give away any
people get
secrets.
so mad at us.
Who's beat the game though?
See,
Okay.
we're always,
Twice. We got twice.
we're
Okay.
always afraid we're gonna be the Tom Holland and like say something that we're not supposed to.
The joy you already had when you got to wear that Venom hoodie.
It's like I can talk about Venom finally.
So anyway, I was
I'm
doing
sorry.
rape stuff, and it was kind of one of our first big recording stuff. We did now rape, being raped. And we started recording, and I was going through the lines, and Chris Zimmerman was just watching me and watching me and watching me, and at one point she leans forward, because they have a microphone to be able to speak to the booth, and she goes, I'm afraid for Yuri coming home tonight. He's going to be singing.
Let the record show I was so nervous to say the word rape as well. I wrote down your feelings when you found out where they were taking her in part 2. Because I was like, I don't know what level. They, by proxy, have the snipers afraid as well. But I love that the games have taken on such a life of their own that we feel like these characters are so independent. And then what they did Into the Spider-Verse to make them canon as their own multiverse and how things are really separate. So this is all kind of canon to me. Like, this is a canon event. So in that vein, as this is a canon event, Nadji, music you'd recommend, Miles.
Ooh. Kendrick Lamar.
Ooh, I like that. I finally played the second, your game over the holiday because it's a Christmas game.
Mm-hmm.
So I saved it. I waited to play it over Christmas.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So it'd be totally appropriate. And the entire time I was like, what music would they both share?
Yeah, I think, Kendrick kind of teased with Mr. Morale. I don't know if y'all caught on with that, but his last album was called Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, and Mr. Miles Morale was, I don't know, I just
I don't see the connection.
You know, I just kind of,
Easter eggs are too complex.
But yeah, no, it's definitely for sure.
And Peter Parker, I feel like he'd be like an elevator jazz. Like, what do you think is it?
Right? I would love to believe that that Pete has the eclectic taste in music that I do. As a matter of fact, somebody asked me once after the first game, they're like, would you, I put together a Spotify list, would you put together a Peter Parker Spotify list? And so basically, and it's out there, and basically I just sort of made a list of all the stuff that I like.
Once again,
but
self-actualizing.
Right, exactly. I'm gonna go with Fugazi because that's I grew up.
Did anyone ever find this Spotify list that he created for Peter Parker?
You can if you search it, I'm sure.
I was gonna ask, what did you guys think of that? Like, does it feel Peter?
It's
Parker?
weird. I have a weird taste in music. It's all over the
I
place.
think Peter would as well. That's all I'm saying.
You might have 100% of the game, but have you 100% of the Spotify playlist?
With that.
New challenge unlocked. Now, we've talked a lot about the heroic side of these things, but I would argue that next to the Batman Rogues Gallery, Spider-Man has the greatest Rogues Gallery. I would say maybe even greater than Batman. You guys, Tony Todd as Venom is one of the great casting choices of all time. Is there anyone that,
Only if you were here at this table with us right now.
When I went backstage to see you guys at home and Tony Todd was there, I hadn't gotten used to the concept yet. Like, just the idea that Candyman was just around was so like,
And he's the biggest nerd in the world. Like, yeah, he's super sweet. He loves comics and video games, and like, I mean, he goes deep. And yeah, he's the best. But he's also really imposing. He's like 12 feet tall, and in real life, I mean, not, but close. He feels that way. Yeah, exactly.
Actually, before we get to villain, sorry, Yuri Watanabe, I pictured Yeah, Yeah, Yes. Is there any?
Oh, that would be good.
Katsuya.
I was gonna say Katsuya, but that's because I like Katsuya. I don't know, I like Katsuya.
Yeah, that's a Norwegian band. They're fierce
It's
ladies.
got some fierce chicks and they change instruments in the middle of the song, so like they can play all the instruments because who doesn't play every instrument?
So you guys are all admitted to be method actors your whole lives, but like the music I like would be the artist that they like. But villain-wise, is there, not to, obviously we haven't gotten Spider-Man 3 yet, this game just came out, and I go insane, and people are like, when's the next one? I'm like, 7 years, baby.
Yeah, right, it's hilarious.
Development on games, like, we can't help you beat it in a weekend. Please pace yourself. But is there anyone you'd like to see, just from a narrative standpoint, a villain you think could be at a good place where the story is now?
I would love for them to, because this is something that Insomniac, I think, have already sort of proven themselves that they're good at this. I would love for them to take like a B level or a C level or like a D level villain.
Swarm.
Big wheel. Like, I mean, you know, right?
The Inheritors.
Bring him on.
Right? I would love to see them take that and just make you cry. Like a joke villain and turn them into, you know, like, yeah, because I think they could do it.
Well, even just look at Craven. Like, what did they do with Craven? Like,
I mean, Craven was, hey, look, all respect to Tony Todd, and look, everybody wanted to see Venom. We know Venom's the big bad of this game, but when we watched through they did a screening after the game came out at Insomniac, where they just sort of cut as many of the cinematics as they could together and sort of into like a movie form. And I walked out of there and I just went and I hugged Jim Peary, who plays Craven, and I'm like, Craven was my big bad for this. Like, I mean, he tore it up.
to face in a narrative standpoint?
I guess we will just have to see.
Oh, he's playing coy. He's playing coy.
She also said that's a great question earlier, and I was like, oh. And now you are in a unique position to also have your own villains now. I want Wraith to fight a Carnage offshoot, like one of the odd,
They
or
kinda
like
set it
or even
up.
a Banshee.
That would be
Not
amazing.
Banshee, what's her name? Oh no, I failed as a nerd.
Or
Maximum Carnage villain. Maximum Carnage villain. Shriek. I think Shriek and Wraith would be really cool.
I just want to see more rape. It's my opinion.
right, yeah, right. Anything that keeps us in the game is good.
Now, usually there's a microphone about there for fan questions, but since there isn't, I'm going to ask one more question, and then if you guys want to then hands up. So, no, I don't want to make you keep your hands up. I'm going to quickly ask one more question. I love how adorable you two are in real life. Like, you are one of my favorite couples in the world. And the fact that, fun fact, I found out recently that back in the day, sometimes when she would be mad at Yuri, Prince of Persia would be on the screen, and
No, that's not happening.
and he would be launched off of cliffs. You'd hear some yells of a little bit of some retail therapy in a very unique way. But I always wondered, and I got to ask Yuri this: have you ever played a character you thought was as romantic or as loving as you two are in real life? That's how cute they are. There's not even a fictional love.
That was good.
Right? We're so cute that I had to put Nadji in between us so we wouldn't gross you guys out.
Yeah. See,
They got engaged us at
even in the right ear, it was like, no.
We did. We eloped 22 years ago.
They drove cross country and like a Chi-Chi's is involved, Vegas guys. It's adorable. Shameless plug, like Yuri and I did a really great interview, and you guys can find online. But like the cuteness of these two.
Part one, right?
Part one of like
Part
seven.
one of like seven?
Yeah, no, it's gonna be absurd. Okay, I saw his hand up first, and I like his headphones. Sir, with the red shoes. Yep. Just yeah.
Oh.
I'm gonna make this as hard as possible.
Okay,
I like this better.
okay, one question everyone has been suspecting.
Yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Are both Spider-Man gonna be in Beyond the Spider-Verse? Please say yes.
I think they still have so much work to do on that movie that they still have plenty of time to ask us. I thought I wasn't gonna be in it, and then like 2 months before the movie came out, I got a call because here's the thing, all the Spider-Mans were wearing masks, so there was no lip flap to have to reanimate to. They just looked at it and they wrote some lines and timed it out. So.
I think it'll be better with at least 4 more miles in it.
Tune in.
Or
So we're gonna make this a line even without the stand. So yeah, the good sir there. And if you guys just want a single file line, sorry to cause chaos, but there was no mic stand. Now I'm in trouble. Yeah, and just come over here. That gold mark is gonna be the mic stand. Guys, we're gonna speed around these, so if you can keep your questions to a sentence or so. All right, good sir.
Hi, my question is Buttercup still alive?
I think Spider-Cop should have got the DLC, but
Yeah.
I believe in some universe Spider-Cop is alive. I don't know if we'll ever see him again, but he's part man, part spider all the time.
Always.
Thank you, Manny. Hello, you guys. So I want to do a bit of a thought experiment with you guys. I like to come up with an alias for Miles Morales. So for instance, we have Gwen Stacy, apparently known as Ghost Spider. We have Ben Reilly, known as Scarlet Spider. What do you think is a good name for Miles Morales? I know, right? I talked with my friend.
The Web.
I like that internet approach, though. I think that, like the web, the modernization, and it works with the character.
Yeah.
Good one. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, man.
The web.
The web.
Canada.
Hello. Actually, I just wanted to say that this is actually my second time seeing Yuri on stage. I saw you at, what was it, Otaku Fest in Dallas about 2 years ago when you were talking about Sasuke Uchiha, and you were amazing. You were amazing. My question is, the ending of Spider-Man 2 teased so many upcoming villains, Carnage, Doc Ock, Green Goblin, and even heroes like Silk, but I can't help but notice that after the game, all the symbiotes are still in the city, even though they defeated Venom and they defeated all the big symbiotes, which begs the question, how would you guys feel, or do you think there's a chance that at some point we're going to see Noel, God of the Symbiotes, as a villain in these games?
Wow, he's been studying. He has been watching.
I hope that, they don't tell us, but they haven't told us anything yet. So I mean, the field is wide open, as you say. There are a lot of doors open. I would love it. Thank you.
I hope it happens.
Thank you, man. What's your name?
Miguel. Promise.
Wow, and his name is Miguel? Wow. Wow.
Are your parents comic fans? Are you from 2099? Time travel here?
No, unfortunately, I'm pretty much the only big, well, my sister's also a humongous fan. I'm pretty much the biggest comic book fan in my family and video games, movies, and whatnot.
Miguel too, coming soon.
Yeah.
What do you have to do? All right,
Sure,
thanks
thank you, man.
Hello.
I love those guys.
Thank you.
Bro.
So this actually isn't about Spider-Man, but about another character that Yuri played. So you played Simone in Gurren Lagann.
I do those classes.
The movies just came out. Did they call you back in to do any more lines, or was it all like reused from the show?
It was crazy. After 15 years of not letting us dub those movies, they called us back in and said it's time. And I couldn't have been happier because that show is the best. And those movies I've always wanted to do. And if you didn't get a chance to see them in the theater, hopefully they'll do some sort of release because they got back most of the cast. And it was amazing. Like everybody sank right back into their roles from 15 years ago. Except they had 15 years to get better at acting. So the movies really destroy. And there's a new animation, so you should just go and see it.
And do you remember any of Simone's lines that you can recite?
Just who the hell do you think I am?
Thank you.
No more screaming, no more hunting. Right.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey, man, how you doing?
So, in Across the Spider-Verse, we obviously saw Insomniac's Peter Parker, right? So, I just wanted to ask Nadji, how did Miles, do you think, felt whenever Peter Parker just up and left? And then for Yuri, what do you think was going through his head whenever all the other Spider people started chasing Miles? And did he chase Miles, or did he try and hang back and maybe hide? Maybe I don't know.
I think he was chasing Miles to see if there was any way he could help. I can't see him going, just to stop Miles.
I was hurt Peter left.
I'm sorry about that, man.
I was hurt. I was hurt. That's all I gotta say.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much.
Maybe you didn't even notice because at the end of the last game, he's like, I got this. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be in the garage.
it's a bit of both. It's like the bittersweet, like, yeah, you can go. Go ahead. I'm fine. I'm alright.
Hello. I just want to say first, Yuri, you are my favorite iteration of Spider-Man, and I can't wait to see what more you can do with this character. I wanted to know, what are each of your favorite cinematics to shoot in the most recent game, and if you can tell us anything about possible DLC coming up.
Well, no, we cannot do that.
No more the shot.
Anyone else in line of DLC questions? They're on.
Dang it, we're going back.
From the new one,
Probably,
Well, you guys think I didn't have as much mocap stuff this time, but I mean, I loved all the flames and stuff. I mean, it was just...
Well, I mean more along the lines of like voice lines.
Oh, voice lines?
Yeah, like what would like favorite voice lines to record? Basically, just favorite overall scenes to shoot.
cinematic.
Oh man.
I really love all the, him just trying so hard and me just not having it. There's just something really fun about this.
Why don't you pop a few pills and tell me how you really feel?
Yes!
It was so much harder than I thought it would be to make Pete mean. It just doesn't feel right.
Peter's like slow transition into
Yuri was in the zone on set too.
Yeah, that was probably
You could tell, I'm like, okay, don't go over there. He's in the zone.
The slow transitioning to like symbiote Pete was probably my favorite part of the game.
So it was hard.
Favorite cinematic, I think there was one scene where we were trying to fight the symbiote and trying to get it off of him. And, you know, he was throwing Miles so much shade there. It got to a point where I was just like, all right.
That fight is brutal.
Yeah, you know, and yeah, there was times where I'm like, okay, this is not normal. So I think those little moments on set where we had to switch it up and have that challenge. And, you know, they all played out well, you know, because like I said, this second game was just full of just surprises for you guys.
Let me just tell you about a bit of cinematic that didn't make it in, because it didn't quite fit. But when Pete gets stabbed, but then, you know, gets the symbiote, and there was this like bit of comedy gold where they're back at the apartment, and Pete's got this knife sticking out of him, and they're all like, "Oh God, pull it! Oh no, stop pulling it! Don't pull it!" Like it was so funny. Like they didn't know what to do with this knife, and but it didn't quite fit the tone.
It should be a Easter egg though. That would be amazing.
I'd love to see more deleted scenes from video games.
Yeah.
In general.
Yeah, it's a lot.
They're out there. Miles was like, who? That's a great question. I learned something.
Thank you guys so much.
Hey guys, how are you doing? All right, just a quick fun question that I thought would be really nice to ask. Enough about the game, what would be some great songs that you guys would web swing to? I personally am a big fan of Hey Ya by Outkast.
Wow, I like that. It's my favorite artist. Andre 3000. Okay, you guys go first.
Still stuff all the songs that our son makes us play right now on rotation.
That's right. A lot of trolls. A lot of trolls on the soundtrack.
All the trolls.
I mean, the John Paisano music that he scored for, like, City of Hope is now what I listen to when I'm feeling down and I need to feel back up again. Like, nothing gets me going more than that classic Insomniac Spider-Man, you know, Spider-Man track. It's awesome.
Couldn't agree more.
You feel like a superhero.
Did you guys hear the Metro Boomin? Yeah, I like some songs from those too, man.
And that first Into the Spider-Verse soundtrack is it's just the whole thing.
No problem, you guys have a good one.
Yes, sir, you too, man.
Will Smoke be in the second story in Mortal Kombat 1?
That's a good question. I barely, you know, I didn't even know I was gonna be smoking
This man's-
one, so that was a huge surprise.
Man, it's a leather jacket.
Got a very Nightwing, sort of very Nightwing thing going on, or Red Hood thing, sorry. See, Jack, I messed up the first Spider-Man panel. I'm like, switch gears, DC. Yeah, I don't know. I hope so. Are you making smoke?
I'm a loser with smoke.
I'm a loser as smoke, so.
I call you dad jokes all the time. All the time.
You know, my favorite is like, yeah, I love that. I love his catchphrase where there's smoke, there's fire. But it's kind of lame because like there's never any fire. It's just like.
So we're gonna try for 4 more questions, but for people that didn't get to ask a question, I'm gonna take a big group selfie and you guys can come to the front as a consolation. And these guys are gonna be down signing everything, so by all means you should check them out and ask those questions then. But these 4 and then we're gonna take a big group picture. But first, these spider shoes.
Okay, so was there any parts in like Spider-Man 2 where Miles had like the symbiote?
Off camera.
I mean, there were days when he was grumpy. Is that what you meant?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of felt it a little bit when, you know, Big Bro was like, it's my mic, it's my mic.
You're magnetic.
It's my mic. Yeah, definitely, man. You know, when I was getting the bad version of Pete, you know, I kind of felt the venom in me too, because it was like, why is he being so mean? You know, I was like, I want to get back at him, but I can't. You know, so that right there probably was like my little taste of symbiote. Thank you, man. I like the shoes, man. Yeah, and the suit, man. What's your name? Val. So nice to meet you. That's right. We met. That's
You
right.
your mom is that cool 3D sculptor, right?
Yeah. He has a fire helmet.
Hello.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Y'all, I want to say, this is actually not related to Spider-Man, but I wanted to come back to Gurren Lagann. I got to see the second movie. Absolutely incredible. D-Box, it was insane. Like, the first ever time D-Box, unreal.
D-Box is terrifying.
It really was. I didn't know they had water effects, so I was like I was on a ride. It was ridiculous. But my question is actually related to another game that both Tara and Yuri are in. It's getting tonight midnight. I already know where I am. Persona 3. I know both of you are. I know you're coming back, and I'm really. I know that, but I'm like still. I'm really excited to play it. That's gonna be like everything, and I love you guys in that. And I want to think like, what's it like to like work together, just in general, but like maybe that specifically, because.
Well, often when we work together, we're not actually working together because we go to the booth and record separately. I mean, look, we got to work together more on Spider-Man because we got to do all those motion capture performance capture and work together with the cutscenes. So like working together on Persona was like working together.
Fair.
We get to record together.
Yeah.
And I always love it.
Yeah, any project where we get to work together, even when we're working together separately, is awesome.
That's really cool. Thank you so much.
Before I ask my question, I want to add on to something that someone else said about Into the Spider-Verse. On 2 occasions now, Peter has sacrificed someone for the greater good of the overall people. And I want to see, like, Aunt May, Harry, all them. I want to know if that changed what you said about Peter not siding with Miguel in the situation.
It's always a tough choice. That's another thing that makes Spider-Man. That makes Spider-Man relatable. Is
He lives in the trolley problem.
yes. It's always a super hard choice. That's maybe tomorrow I would give a different answer to that question.
Just one more thing I want to ask, I guess, to any of you, or all of you. What is your favorite piece of Spider-Man media?
Media?
Yeah, of all time, like spectacular games or...
I mean, this game.
I do feel ownership over part of this game for sure. It does feel like a good sort of synthesis of so many other pieces of media that I've digested and loved in the past. So yeah, I'm gonna go with game too. It's hard to challenge, there's just so many years of comics, that we've had and so many stories.
All right. Evolution of Spider-Man.
I like you're the problem child with the microphone, like the one that's so first with it.
But if I had to choose, it would probably be the Marvel pinball game that I played Spider-Man. The Marvel. Yes.
He's not kidding, that exists.
He doesn't know what a pinball machine
The
is.
first time that I played Spider-Man in a video game was Marvel Pinball, like
The pinball?
20 years, 15 years ago, something like that.
Oh yeah, I was like...
He's being silly.
I'm being silly.
But it does happen, it does exist. No, I mean, this pinball game does. All right, gonna be our last question, good sir, with some great hair.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
As you are all talented voice actors, you can be your own biggest critic. What was one line that made it into the game for each of you that you really wish, could I have another take on that?
Well, I'm
Good
not
last
the fact
question.
that I haven't played the whole game, so I don't know.
I'm hypercritical of myself, so like every line.
Yeah, thank you. Oh my God. All right. Yeah. Don't mind. It's everyone for me. He literally was just in my head. That's why y'all saw me just freak out because he was in my head. Literally did same.
Except
Can we, that's the perfect ending this, because that's the first line of the panel, the last line of the panel. We have done an Ouroboros of Honey and Spider-Man.
Come see us at the table.